teammates. Welcome to the Live Well podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jen Collins.
And I'm Seth Christopher. Welcome to the Well.
Good morning, Seth. And how are you doing this beautiful day?
I am doing fantastic, Jen.
I am doing wonderful. How excited are you to talk about our topic today?
Oh, I am super excited to talk about sustainability. I think this is a topic that I had to do a little bit of research on. I know you did as well. But probably some things we're going to talk about today are things teammates are like, oh, wow, had no clue. So looking forward to providing that detail.
Totally agree. This topic sort of blew me away as I did the research. So I'm super excited to share with you. Also, our guest today is fantabulous. She's absolutely wonderful.
She's fantabulous.
That she is. All right. So we are talking about sustainability today, and we're going to talk about what that means, but then we're also going to talk about what Atrium is doing to make the earth a cleaner place. I want you to know, as I was preparing, I ended up doing a deep dive on two different parts of this topic. And one of the first things I found that I couldn't wait to share with you was about plastics in the ocean. So it is estimated that by the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. An estimated 71% of seabirds and 30% of turtles have been found with plastics in their stomachs.
Wow, way to kick off the show, Jen. And I don't mean to be funny, but you said take a deep dive, and then we're talking about the ocean. So we're kind of taking a deep dive into ocean stats here. But that's pretty sad. I'm assuming 71% of seabirds, you mean like pelicans, the other birds you see flying over the ocean.
Yep. Seagulls. Yeah, those seagulls and pelicans. Yeah. It just, and like I said, then the turtles, and they actually, the article I was reading actually had pictures where they had opened them up and you could see the plastic, of course, not digested. It just was really, I love the ocean. It's just kind of near and dear to me. So sort of found that very disturbing. When marine life ingests this plastic, it decreases their mortality rate by 50%. So it just really takes a toll, not something I had really ever thought about.
And that's sad. I'm glad we're not showing pictures and this is a podcast, but I also go back to thinking when you're mentioning the stats on everything plastic in the ocean, how it's affecting essentially the circle of life. And I don't mean to be cheesy, but plastic goes in the ocean. The turtles, the fish, the seabirds, animals potentially that we end up eating, eat this plastic. Then those animals make their way to our plates where we eat them. And I'm sure there's some tie-ins to people getting sick, potentially increases in certain types of diseases, sicknesses because of that. And again, not being funny, but just thinking about the circle of life and how all that makes its way back to us.
Absolutely. We know that the plastic in the ocean can actually cause endocrine disruption and some cancer-causing mutations. So it definitely does affect us as humans as well. So we really need to do something about that.
We do. And I think we're equipped to talk about it a little bit today, but we've got a subject matter expert from Atrium Health who will get us straight. But maybe let's shift to talk a little bit about what Atrium Health is doing and our groundbreaking, huge Atrium Health sustainability project that's recently launched. So this, for teammates that aren't aware, this is a new initiative that started at the end of September. And essentially what Atrium Health is doing is eliminating single-use plastic bottled waters from up to 31 facilities across the hospital system. So this initiative is going to impact total consumption of single-use plastic bottled water in cafeterias, floor stock, lounges, and some of the internal catering. We'll have a chance to talk a little bit more detail about what that looks like with our guest, who is a champion, if you will, of this sustainability project.
Yep, I can't wait to hear. She goes really into detail about what this project is. Before we get to that, I bet you have some fast facts for us.
You know I do. Let's do it. Fast facts. Humans have made approximately 8.5 billion metric tons of plastic since 1950. So that's the last 70 years, in case you were doing the math, Jen.
That blows me away.
Fast fact. In the environment, plastics take anywhere from 400 to 1,000 years to degrade. Up to 1,000 years.
Not in our lifetime, not in our kids' lifetime, not in their kids' lifetime. Like, that's a really long time.
Yes. Fast fact. By 2050, it's estimated that we'll have about 12 billion metric tons of plastic waste. I mean, these numbers are just, they're blowing me away.
Right.
Fast fact. According to the Ocean Conservancy, our oceans are filled with more than 150 million tons of plastic.
They must be out there in the ocean, because sometimes you see it come up on the beach, but it must be out in the ocean more.
It is, and there are tons of videos out there that kind of show there are certain places in the oceans where the currents lead to, and they're forming these plastic islands, which, again, I'm not a subject matter expert, but I know that there are pictures and videos out there that we can certainly drop links to give you an idea of what this looks like and where this plastic's actually going. But, Jen, the great news is, and we talked a little bit about what Atrium Health is doing with a sustainability project. There are a lot of big companies that are trying to do their part and really set the bar for how to go about reducing carbon footprint and cutting back on some of these wastes. And I'm just so proud, hashtag Health proud, of what we are doing here with the sustainability project and the sustainability initiative to really make an impact and be a part of that larger movement.
It's really great.
Right. Last fast fact. Jen, up to 1 trillion plastic bags are used each year, and only around 5% of those bags actually get recycled. So 5% of 1 trillion is?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. That's right. Not enough.
And not enough. Yeah. I think part of those 5% might be sitting in my house. All right. So those are some pretty just groundbreaking facts, like eye-opening facts. Like, those really, really got to me. So let's talk about some myths. One of the first myths I want to talk about, since you just mentioned plastic bags. So as I was putting all this together, I got into a deep dive about plastic bags. Okay. So totally went down a rabbit hole. And as I was so I was like, all right, well, plastic bags are not really great. They don't recycle. Only 5% get recycled. You can't put them in your recycling bin. So what's a good alternative? So I said, I guess that paper bags would be the way to go. But I went to double check. Not so much the way to go. So, plastic bags, like you said, take centuries to decompose. They're difficult to recycle. But paper bags actually take more energy to make and contribute to a higher carbon footprint, because they're worse for air pollution. So it increases climate control compared to the plastic bags. So I was like, okay, well, that's surprising, because of course you got to cut down trees to make paper bags, right? So, I think the recommendation more so when your grocer is asking you paper or plastic, paper would probably be better than plastic, but best off of all would be to take a cloth or cotton bag, or take your own plastic bags back and reuse them or those paper bags. So just kind of a crazy myth / fact there.
I'm not sure you made me or any of our teammates feel better about using paper bags. It sounds like it's the lesser of two evils.
Definitely is. And even I went to the grocery store over the weekend, and the lady asked me paper or plastic, and I had to take a pause. And normally I don't know that I would have taken that pause. So, I will definitely be using some of my reusable bags. Let's talk about another myth. Anything can be thrown into the recycling bin. Seth, it's getting easier to recycle because more and more communities are moving towards what's called a single stream recycling. So this is when kind of everything gets thrown into the bin that can be recycled, and you don't have to separate your aluminum, your glass, your plastics, that type of thing. Because of this system, it makes it easier to add recycling to your life. When I was a kid, the fact that we had to separate all that out was definitely a barrier to recycling. It's important to know that most facilities are set up to handle rigid materials, which are, like we said, easier to separate. So that's your hard materials, things like glass, lids, plastic containers, metal, cardboard, paper, that type of thing. It is not recommended to put plastic bags or plastic wraps in your curbside bin if your recycling program advises against it. But as we just talked about, make sure that you do recycle them. You can return these bags to the store. Most grocers, Walmart, Target, home improvement stores, they have receptacles where you can take up all your bags and you can put them into those receptacles, and they will actually work to get them recycled. Another option is collect these items over time and reuse those. So you take your bags back with you. That way you're not gathering more and more. So.
Jen, you mentioned you probably have a bin full of these bags at your house, don't you?
I do. And I'm now going to, Jennifer Sellers is going to give us some really great recommendations for what to do. And I'm going to take her up on some of that.
Well, it sounds like a perfect transition. So why don't we get started on our interview for today?
Oh, yes, let's.
Okay. Well, I will introduce you, and I'm very excited to be introducing Jennifer Sellers, who is the Director of Environmental Sustainability. So Jennifer has been at Atrium Health since 2016, and she's worked to set up waste reduction programs and educational opportunities while strengthening the connections between environmental impacts and human health. Prior to Atrium Health, Jennifer was the sustainability coordinator at Coastal Carolina University in South Carolina for 5 years, and she was a recycling educator and landfill tour guide at the Horry County Solid Waste Authority for 7 years. She has a master's in environmental policy and management from the University of Denver and a BA in English from Coastal Carolina University. She enjoys spending time with her family and writing fiction novels about mysteries and thrillers. Jennifer, welcome to the well.
Thank you for having me.
All right. First things first, I know we've got some really important stuff to talk about. Do any of your mysteries or thrillers involve plastics?
They actually involve a lot of coffee because it takes a lot of coffee to write books. So everything's reusable.
That's awesome. I'd love to actually read. I love mysteries and thrillers, so it'd be great to read some of them if you share.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, great. Thanks for answering. That's the toughest question you're going to have today.
Oh, good. All right.
But back to the topic. We talked a lot about some of the great things that Atrium Health's doing. Maybe help us understand, what exactly are single-use plastics, and more commonly, some things I know I had to look up. What exactly is the carbon footprint?
So single-use plastics are really the types of plastics that are easily thrown away. Like you use it once and then you throw it away or you try to recycle it. So examples would be things like straws, plastic utensils, even wrapping, like that wraps around any sort of packaging maybe that you get either in the mail or things that you purchase at the store. So really it's like a one and done. That's pretty much the idea of a single-use plastic. We have a lot of versions of it, so examples could be endless, unfortunately. So I hope that answers your first question. The second one is about the carbon footprint. So that can be, it can be a little complicated, but the best way I like to describe it is going to be, you think about like your own impact on the planet and what kind of impressions are you making on the planet, whether it's things that you are purchasing, things that you're using to travel with, and things that you're consuming, whether at home or at work. And the thing about products, and you think about like things that you consume, what does it take to make those products? So what is the production? What's the manufacturing? Where does it come from? How long does it take to get to your house? So there's so many different factors to be considered in a carbon footprint, because it's going to be all of those carbon items that add up to make that impact on the planet. So that's it's not really like a simple answer because it involves a lot of different components. So the best thing to do to lessen your carbon footprint would be to, you hear about buying locally, you hear about not using chemicals and those types of items. And even like, right now in the time we're in, people are working remotely. So we already are reducing our carbon footprint just by not commuting every day. So that really helps in reducing any sort of gas or any sort of resources that it takes that might harm the planet.
Wow, that's a really good background. I really feel like I've learned a little bit here, and it's funny because Jen and I were Jen Square and I were going back and forth on plastic bags versus brown paper bags at the grocery store, and kind of the immediate thought versus the carbon footprint, and this feeds right into that. So that's very helpful information.
Yeah. What was the discussion on that? Like which is better, which is worse?
Yeah, so I got into researching about the plastics and all, and of course we were learning and talking about how much plastic is generated and it doesn't degrade for hundreds and hundreds of years. So I thought, okay, let's just offer up paper bags as an alternative. So I was like, let me look into that, and came away learning that paper bags are not that much better because of the energy it takes to produce them, that they might be a little more biodegradable, but they have a larger carbon footprint and they impact the climate pollution. I was like, oh, well, okay. So, the recommendation that I read and could find was actually cloth bags or reusing plastic or paper, whichever. So paper is, I guess, a little bit better, but then reusing that, taking it back to the grocery store, or just using a cloth bag and getting rid of both of those. So
yeah, definitely. One thing I like to share is that there's something called a waste hierarchy. So it's like an inverted pyramid. And it's like you hear about like the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. And it's actually an order of how you're supposed to do things with your waste. So first you want to reduce, your waste. So like doing, not even using a bag is, the ultimate option if you don't need to. And then you reuse, so you can do the cloth bag, or like you mentioned, even reusing plastic or paper bags. And then the last option is to recycle it. So you can recycle either or on those, but like I know with plastic bags, like in my neighborhood where I'm at now, they actually are collecting plastic bags and they're turning them in to get it made into a bench. So they make these like hard plastic benches. You think about like that hard plastic decking that's like you never have to paint it, you never have to like sand it, any of those things. There's no maintenance for any of it. It's just it is for years. And so our neighborhood is just like, they just collect these bags and then they'll turn them in and get a bench made out of them. So it's super cool. It's really gets our neighborhood involved, and it actually separates the bags from regular residential recycling. You don't want to put your plastic bags with regular residential recycling because it actually clogs the machines when they go to sort it. So it's a lot of good things with recycling the plastic bags. Or like you mentioned, you can take them back to the store, and they actually, like Walmart does like a huge bulk collection, Harris Teeter, all of those do the bulk collections of the plastic bags, and then they just actually turn them into more plastic bags. So that's why you remember when Walmart bags were like, I think they're blue and then they're white. So now most of them are gray. Well, they're gray because they mixed all the colors together when they recycled them.
that is so interesting. All of that is just amazing.
I am full of fun facts. I've been doing this for a long time.
That's awesome.
And you read that I used to do the landfill tours. So
yes.
Yeah, I had so many tours, all ages, and trash is fascinating. It really is.
Well, it's amazing to hear what you described your community, your neighborhood is doing. Is such a great example of how you can be proactive and how you can make a difference. I think that we kind of get caught in the recycle, reuse, which is exactly what we should be doing. But you were talking about like
going the next step and really applying and then just like seeing the products of it. It's not just like this thing where you put in a can, you never see it again.
Right.
So I think there's a sense of reward by getting that. So that's just really amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I think seeing what actually happens to it is probably going to give folks a lot of sound mind that, oh, it actually does get recycled, or I actually see what happens to my trash, because yeah, it doesn't disappear.
Yeah, I love that, because sometimes it feels like, the recycling and this environmental sustainability is just so big. And it's like, could really one person make a difference? But that's what we've come to figure out is yes, absolutely. And it can kind of snowball. The difference can really be compounded.
Yeah, there's it just takes one person to make a movement. And there's a little video that I used to share with my students when I worked at a college, and it would be like this one person by themselves in the middle of this field dancing. Like they're just dancing, they're having a good time by themselves. But then another person joins and another person joins, and soon you have a movement because you have multiple people joining in this dance. And it just takes that one person to start it. And I think that, it just can continue into that bigger effect and that bigger impact in a lot of ways.
Well, Jennifer, it sounds like you have been in that field and you've been getting a lot of people come to the dance party.
Yes.
Perfect example.
So.
You're a big champion at one of the new initiatives here at Atrium Health. I'd love to get some information from you about and sharing with our audience. Maybe telling us a little bit about how Atrium Health is really stepping out and being that first one into the field with a dance on single-use plastics.
Yeah, of course. So we've been working on environmental sustainability within Atrium Health really behind the scenes for many years. And that's through lots of different areas, lots of different projects happening. And I believe that, plastics is just one of those things that's really the waste just has such a visual effect on pollution and just disposing of it, and we keep creating more. And it actually was a real big piece of what our CEO, Gene Woods, wanted to see happen in making a big change and making a big impact at Atrium Health. And there's been multiple, phases that are going to be starting through this, because you can't just start a huge project like this and do it overnight. And one thing I like to share is that sustainability is a journey, and it's you have to bring a lot of people along as a team to help make that journey. And it's going to be windy, and it's going to have some barriers, or it's going to have some curves, but we will figure it out. And so through this, as of, I guess, by the time this airs, we, as of September 30th, the first phase has already started. And that was to eliminate single-use plastic water bottles across our care sites. So the care sites would be our bedded facilities, acute care, behavioral health, continuing care, and even the freestanding EDs within the North Carolina market. So we have 31 locations that are a part of this, and they have eliminated the single-use plastic bottled water. Now, let me clarify that doesn't mean that we're getting rid of single-use water. We're just getting rid of the single-use plastic. So there is an option for a sustainable source for single-use water. It's just going to be from more of a sustainable package. There's a couple different options. They're in a renewable carton. So kind of like, think about a juice carton or something like that. It's kind of like that kind of product. So it's renewable. It's a paper, and it has like a sugarcane cap. So those are the types of products that are available. In addition to, we're trying to really encourage refilling water through water dispensers, which are open in the facilities. The thing that is closed is the actual traditional water fountain that you have to lean over and take a sip from the little thing. So those parts from infection prevention, those are closed. But the bottle filler and then the ice water machines, those are all open. So I know we're trying to spread that message a little further to make sure everyone's kind of on the same page as well. So this is a big, initiative, and I think it's a good starting place for single-use plastics and bringing that awareness, to our teammates, but also outside of the walls of Atrium as well, and just to let folks know that we're big. We probably have a big carbon footprint, and we're doing something about it. So I think that's a big, that's really what Gene, wanted to see happen, is he wanted to, really impact and reduce that single-use plastic, that waste, because essentially we're eliminating about 2 million plastic bottles a year from the landfills, just from Atrium Health. We had to run a lot of numbers. We had to double check our numbers. But yeah, that's and that's only from those 31 facilities, all, that we're working with for this first part. So that's, you think about all these we have so many buildings and so many offices outside of 31 locations, that there's got to be more bottles that we can probably impact outside of that when we move forward into like the future phases of this. Sorry, that was a long answer, but
no, that is a perfect answer. There's so much there. My takeaway immediately is, wow, 2 million water bottles just from those care sites. I think I read somewhere over 5 years that was going to be about 90 tons of plastic waste. And that would be a huge impact and reduction in the carbon footprint. And it just blows my mind just what's going on around, Atrium Health, but stepping outside, the impact that we have the ability to make on our community is it's so big.
Yes. And I wanted to mention too that even though this is the first part of this and we are eliminating it from these specific locations, folks will probably, teammates will still see plastic bottles in areas, and so it's still a work in progress. So some of those areas include some of the gift shops and some of the vending machines, and even some of our other vendors like Panera and Chick-fil-A and stuff like that. So we have more work to do. This really has been a team effort through like food and nutrition, and our PSBO team with contracting, and of course, Live Well. And so there's been a lot of folks involved in this. We have a task force put together, and I think that moving forward, it's been a really good group, and I think that it takes all of us to kind of put our heads together to be able to come up with solutions, or working with different units and different leaders on coming up with solutions for their areas, because units are different in different areas, and we want to be able to help them figure out the best way to not purchase the plastic bottles, but find the more sustainable solution that's going to work best for them and their teammates and their patients. So it's definitely, we're keeping this, an ongoing journey. So definitely anyone who wants to reach out to me and our team, I welcome them to do that.
That's awesome. And you mentioned the task force and all. If there were teammates who were interested in getting involved, they have a heart for sustainability, or they're interested in learning more, or just kind of want to help out, do they have a way to do that?
Yes. So we are seeking champions for this work, and they will specifically help us with this plastic reduction initiative, not just for the single-use water bottles, but as we move into other plastics moving forward over the next year or so. So champions, we will have a monthly call-in. It's 30 minutes, and it would include an update of what's happening, new information about resources, and a potential for an educational opportunity also to learn a little bit more in depth of what's happening behind the scenes. Because I think that's always helpful to provide that, foundation for why are we doing this, and how are we doing this, and how does it all fit in? Because there's really a lot happening with even our food and nutrition services and our providers within the cafeterias that are working on sustainable best practices, and we want to be able to elevate some of this other work that's happening across the system too, and share that with our champions to let them know to be able to almost become those experts within their areas, and then they can help share what they've learned with their teammates out in their units. So yeah, they basically can, I would say the best way to do it would be to email me. And my email is going to be it's sustainability@atriumhealth.org. And it comes straight to me in my inbox, and they can just say, hey, I want to be a champion. How do I do it? And I will get them all set up. Easy peasy.
That's great. We'll put that information in our show notes as well.
Yes.
And teammates, this is really important work. You have a chance to make a difference. Take Jennifer up on this offer. Email her. Get involved. Be a champion.
She makes me want to be a champion. This is so amazing.
Yes, please. Everyone should join. I think it's folks have an opportunity to be a change agent through this too, and to really reinforce the fact that that sustainability can also be a behavior change, and that, even though you might, do some things at home, maybe you want to do more. Like, you're like, okay, I recycle, cool, but I kind of want to learn more. I kind of want to do more. What can I really do to make sure that there's like, a protection around our planet and a better future for our kids, and I mean, even a better like conservation effort within our community. There's a lot of links out there, and if folks are interested in other links, to get involved, I can help set them up with that too. We have a green team call also once a month that kind of expands that outside of the plastic reduction initiative, and we bring in community organizations to speak with that group specifically about what's happening within Charlotte area. Just since there's really so much happening out there outside of our walls.
So true. And you all are doing such important work, and it makes just this sustainability initiative with the single-use plastic bottles by Atrium Health just it creates such an impact in our communities. And I think it sets the tone. You talked about the going into the field, being the first person. I think if we can get more people out there, and we've got the momentum and the support of Atrium Health and Gene Woods and all the great team members that you've been working with on these initiatives, Jennifer, I think the sky's the limit. I think we really can make a difference.
Yes, definitely.
We appreciate you being on. Is there any kind of parting words you would like to leave with our teammates? That the champion call out is so awesome. The green team is doing such great work. Anything else that teammates maybe can do within their home that they could start today even?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot. I mean, as an organization, we're taking this big step towards environmental stewardship, and I think that step includes what you do within your own personal space, because this is a personal behavior change for sustainability in many ways. And I mean, really think about this is one thing. It's like, think about what you're purchasing and what you're buying within your home, and look at your packaging. I think if you can reduce your packaging and reuse items, like packing a zero waste lunch, I think that those are some options that folks can do. That might be easy, that doesn't take an extra effort completely. So I think that, those can be some options, and try not to think about it in terms of like, oh, I can recycle that. Try to think about it like, I won't be able to recycle this. So what can I do to make it better so I don't have to dispose of it?
What is a zero waste lunch? That sounds so cool.
That's like every lunch I have, let me be honest.
Leave nothing behind. There's a lot of containers out there that you can get that are you just throw in your dishwasher. And I mean, have little sections, like there's little boxes with the little different sections and a lid and stuff. I mean, sometimes kids use them for school lunches and stuff, but I think they're pretty cool to like do meal planning and have your lunch ready to go. So yeah, there's a lot you can do with that, and without throwing away like Ziploc bags or like any sort of containers really. So yeah, there's a lot you can do at home that's reducing your waste by just not having it.
What a cool idea. I love that idea.
The other, real quick, I wanted to mention that LiveWell is doing a challenge. It would have started by now, and it goes until November 6th. And we partnered with them to really challenge our teammates to, share with us how it's a hashtag, how to H2O. And we want folks to be able to choose to drink water and drink it sustainably and share that with us. And they can track their success through the Total Health portal. And through that, if they track it for at least 15 days, they can win reusable water bottles from LiveWell. And so I'm happy to share the information so you can put in the show notes as well, because I think that's something that really anybody can do anywhere.
That's great. Yeah, I'm excited about this challenge. We'll give more details, and we'll definitely put the link in our notes at the end. This has been just so informational. I feel like I have learned so much.
Good.
Thank you for being on. We really appreciate it. Keep informed with us. Let us know where we can help out at any time. If you want to come back on when we go into phase 2, we can definitely see about making that happen. Thank you so very much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
This is great, Jen.
Seth, that was such an informative interview. That was so much fun.
I wish we had more than 20 minutes to have that conversation. She's just so passionate about sustainability and about the project here at Atrium Health, but also just making an impact around the community. I feel a bit inspired.
I definitely think that we need to have her back when they move into the next phase and really talk up the sustainability champions that they're looking for.
All right, Jen, what's happening in LiveWell?
So much. We always have so much to talk about. The first thing we want to do a shout out is on the H2O challenge. So beginning October 5th, LiveWell will have the plastic water bottle reduction challenge, where teammates can complete one of 4 activities each day for at least 15 days and will be entered to win an Atrium Health water bottle.
What are some things teammates can do once they sign up for the challenge?
So again, it's one of 4 activities. So those activities are refill your reusable bottle or cup at least 1 time a day, drink just water, or choose water over soda, juice, or tea, and then flavor your water naturally with fruit or fresh herbs. Make sure that you log your daily challenge activity into the Total Health portal. That will tell us that you're participating, and also share your activities on Yammer with the hashtag #HowToH2O.
And don't forget, open enrollment still October 20th to November 3rd. The enrollment website is live, so if you're looking to get more info on your benefit options in 2021, check out the page.
And lastly, doing another call out for the sustainability champions, which Jennifer Sellers talked about. We will post information on how you can become a champion in our show notes.
Wow, I feel both inspired and like I learned a little bit of something from here, Jen. Why don't you tell us, what did we learn today?
We learned so much stuff. One of the most shocking things that we talked about was the birds in the sea and the sea turtles and found with plastics in their stomachs from the ocean. We also learned sustainability is a journey. I just love that. And remember to reduce, reuse, and recycle. We learned about plastic bags, and up to 1 trillion plastic bags are used worldwide each year. We also learned that the Atrium single-use bottle program could save 2 million plastic bottles from going into our landfills. And finally, we learned that recycling is easier now than ever, and each one of us can do our part to decrease the overall ocean and landfill pollution. Seth, can you take a really quick moment and just give our listeners some tips that they can do right now to help our environment?
Sure. Quick tips that our listeners can take to help our environment. 1, join a recycling program. 2, set up recycling bins next to your indoor trash cans as reminders. 3, save grocery bags in bulk and then return them to grocery stores and into those special slots. 4, reuse what you can. And then 5, buy recycled goods.
Those are such great suggestions. I know in our home we have those 2 bins, one for trash and one for cycling. And I'm going to just make a promise right now that I'm going to change what I do with our plastic bags, and I'm going to either recycle them or move to cotton cloth bags.
That's awesome. That's a great tip, and we're going to follow up with you on how this went in future podcasts, Jen. All right, teammates, want to share how you live well? Remember, we're talking about everything now. It's how you're living sustainability-wise. How are you living health-wise? Have your story shared with us on your next podcast by posting on Live Well Yammer's page using the hashtag #ILiveWell.
Our next podcast topic, we'll be talking all about breast health. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we're going to take one of our shows and talk about what you can do for breast cancer awareness, and then also how Atrium Health is promoting breast cancer awareness. The next show will be airing on October 13th. And we have so many very special guests on our shows this month. I'm just really excited. On October 15th, we'll be talking with Jill Ashburner, who's part of our Live Well team, and she's going to tell us all about what to expect this month from Atrium Health.
And don't forget to visit the sustainability website and the new open enrollment website, which will drop in both of these in the notes.
Our resources are listed at the end of the show, and we'll add links to the programs discussed today in the comments on our Streams channel.
Looking for more things Live Well? Not following our Streams channel yet? Search The Well on Streams in Office 365 or find us on the Live Well website to access all our content.
Thanks for listening to The Well today,
Stay safe
and live well.